Good morning and welcome to the Morning Scoop for Wednesday, June 16th. This is your daily Buckeye fix. I'm Tom Orr. The Minnesota game is in 78 days. The game against Michigan in 164 days. One quick update before we get into the main topic of today's show. The name, image, and likeness bill currently working its way through the Ohio State House passed on to the full Senate yesterday. Ryan Day was at the state capitol yesterday afternoon and spoke in favor of the bill. If you remember your schoolhouse rock, there are still a few more steps to go on before Governor Mike DeWine could potentially sign it into law. If and when that happens, the bill would go into effect on July 1st. Again, this is a big story. It's, even if you don't realize it, this is a very big thing that's in the process of happening. We'll keep you updated as more stuff happens with that. But now on to recruiting, which is what we know you're all really here for. We don't generally have guests on back-to-back days in the show, but the news today is really all about Ohio State's camp, some surprise visitors, offers that came out of yesterday's visits. So I'm bringing back Marc Givler for an encore. What the heck? I like hanging out with Marc anyway. Marc, let's start with a piece of news that involves a guy we actually didn't see on Tuesday, which is defensive lineman Wilfredo Eibar. He is a four-star prospect for 2022, except maybe now he's going to end up being a member of the class of 2021 instead. And if that happens, it sounds like Ohio State might be in pretty good shape to land him. So can you give a little scouting report on Eibar, why he would be appealing to Ohio State? And then, of course, the elephant in the room. Marc, what does this mean for JT Tuimoloau?
Yeah, well, first of all, he's a pure edge. Wilfredo Eibar is pure edge guy they've been recruiting for a long time. Pretty familiar with at this point. Going into his official, I didn't really see where he would fit in 22. I didn't think much of the official at the time and thought, okay, this is kind of a, we'll see what happens with some of the other targets type of situation. But obviously the reclassification is a huge deal. It looks like that's going to happen. He's going to reclassify, and it looks like Ohio State could land him here pretty soon. Interesting in that obviously Tuimoloau's visit starts on Friday, but here's the thing. I don't think anyone wants to really admit, and I don't know that certainly I don't think JT does, but JT's not a pure edge guy. He's a athletic freak, but he's not a pure edge guy. He's actually probably more of a three tech, if we're being honest. And so I don't know that this really impacts that. I know if we rewind the clock, maybe 6 to 8 months ago, we were having discussions about, should the Buckeyes go after another edge, even taking Tuimoloau out of the equation. And the answer at that time was kind of like, yes, I think they'd like to have another edge in the class. And for whatever reason, they never added one. They walked away from a few guys. Maybe they just weren't sold on enough guys. There weren't enough guys out there with Jack Sawyer already in there. So, this opportunity looks to have presented itself, and I think it makes sense. And like I said, I don't, Wilfredo Eibar is probably 50 pounds lighter than JT Tuimoloau right now. I don't view them as similar players. And certainly, I don't think Ohio State would be throwing in the towel 2 days before Tuimoloau's official visit, and Tuimoloau hasn't even made the Alabama visit yet, which is the big fear of Ohio State fans is that Alabama could swipe him, and well, he hasn't even made that visit yet, so there's really no reason to have a different opinion on where that stands right now.
Okay, climbing back off the ledge, and then we can talk about the guys we saw on Tuesday afternoon. There were three really talented linebackers we watched pretty closely. The one I think that got the most attention, both from us and from the Ohio State coaching staff, was Troy Bowles, the son of Todd Bowles, the NFL assistant coach, four-star linebacker prospect from Tampa. He stood out to me just watching drills, and Ohio State's coaching staff apparently agreed.
He's crazy fast for a linebacker. I mean, he really moves like a safety. And he's not a huge linebacker. Was 6'1", 207 today. So he's not a big guy, but there's a lot. I'll tell you, he reminded me of a little bit. And Troy mentioned Darren Lee being a guy he liked, and obviously there's some familiarity there with his father being with the Jets at one point, and Darren Lee playing for the Jets. But he actually reminds me a little bit of Jerome Baker. That's all Jerome Baker was in high school. Jerome Baker was a 6'1", 210 pound guy, but he could just run like a safety, just super athletic. That's who Bowles reminded me of today. I thought he was phenomenal. I thought it was a no-brainer offer. And now we see, how things go. He's not a kid who's really put too much thought into the recruiting process yet, but was very impressed with Ohio State so far.
So yes, he did earn his offer yesterday. that was the one piece of news. We waited. We normally record these at camp, and we said, we're going to wait till the evening and let's let the offer stuff sort itself out. So we're recording a little later than we normally do, but it was worth it. We got that piece of news in there. Ohio State also worked out 4-star linebacker D. Creighton out of Georgia. He is ranked exactly 247th in the top 247 rankings. As of the time we're recording this on Tuesday evening, he has not announced that he has received an offer. But he was another guy who, like, you looked and it was like, yeah, that's a guy who's going to go play for a pretty good Power 5 team at some point. So what did you see out of D. Creighton on Tuesday?
Yeah, really strong kid, really well built, a little further along, I think, physically in his development than Bowles. Not quite the explosiveness and the change of direction and the quick twitch type stuff that we saw out of Bowles, but a really strong player. A guy who I think you keep on your radar this fall. I don't know that they're going to offer. I know he left campus without one. They could always go back and they're going to look at the video from camp and they could always go back and change their mind. I thought he was good, but I didn't think he kicked the door down maybe the way Bowles did, where Bowles basically you have no choice but to offer me today, type of thing. And, but really good player and someone I think probably to watch here this fall, see how the film looks.
Well, earlier in the day, we got to watch DJ Hicks, who is, as we were joking, not to be confused with CJ Hicks. We're going to mix those up 1,000 times on these podcasts over the next year or so if DJ ends up being an Ohio State guy. But he is a 5-star defensive end from Texas. He too, like Bowles, left Ohio State with an offer. We talked about him on the show at noon yesterday and said, like, this is probably happening right now based on what we saw. Like, their offer is probably forthcoming. The offer did come. He was someone who you don't have to be a real expert to look and go like, oh yeah, there's the 5-star. Like, a lot of times it's just like, yep, there he is, found him. And he was definitely one of those guys. So how realistic is it that he could actually end up at Ohio State?
Yeah, it's going to be a national battle. He's already been to Alabama, Georgia, Clemson. I think Florida State's in there. He's been to, he was at LSU. I mean, he has made the rounds. The one thing I think is interesting is they really, both him and his dad told me, they just really wanted to work with Larry Johnson. It wasn't, it wasn't like I just need to go to Ohio State and just, put Ohio State on my resume or whatever. This was more of a getting an opportunity to spend a few hours working with Larry Johnson. And his dad is a defensive line coach, a high school defensive line coach. And so he's actually his position coach. So there's an extra layer, I think, there of respect and just understanding of, the type of coach Larry Johnson is from that family, just with that background that they have. So I think they're going to be in the mix. He made it seem to me like he was going to use one of his 5 officials in the next spring or summer at Ohio State. Obviously, that can change. There's a long way to go there, but I think they're well positioned right now, and we'll see. Like I said, everyone's kind of knocking down his door, and we'll see what happens. One thing I thought was interesting was he did really well inside today too. He might be a 3-tech. He may not even be a defensive end. He's 265 already. He may be one of those, Draymond Jones types. So he's going to be a really fun player to track here. He had a really good day. I was really impressed with him.
Right, and we talked about Hicks on that bonus episode that we dropped in your morning scoop feed around lunchtime on Tuesday. We talked about 4 other linemen on that bonus episode as well. We're not going to repeat that, but wanted to update you at least on the fact that Hicks did have that offer. But one thing, Marc, I did want to talk about was maybe the biggest surprise of the day on Tuesday, which was like, ta-da, 5-star defensive tackle Walter Nolan is here, and the number 2 overall player in the class of 2022 behind only Quinn Ewers. And he just kind of like slid in the side door and was like, oh, and now he's visiting Ohio State today. Cool. Do you have any sense that there's even a remote possibility of that going somewhere, or was that just kind of like he showed up and that may be the last that Ohio State hears of him?
Yeah, I mean, you wonder why he showed up, because he just kind of recently put on Twitter he was ready to make a decision, and now he's back out on the road kind of running through some places. So a little difficult to kind of wrap your brain around, what the motive is here, but he met with Larry Johnson on Monday evening. So he got in Monday night and met with Larry Johnson for a little bit, and then was around campus on Tuesday. There's just not a lot of optimism coming from the people I talked to that would know on the Ohio State end of things. There's just not any real sense that things are real there. And I don't think it's sandbagging. It's not being treated the same way that, JT Tuimoloau has been treated, where, it's kind of like, we might be afraid to say anything. We don't want to screw that up or whatever. But like, it's not like that. It's very kind of animate. Like I don't think they think they've got much of a shot there, but he keeps mentioning them here and there and shows up randomly. And, it was interesting. He was on campus on Tuesday and Larry Johnson's out there working the camp there. Walter Nolan was nowhere to be found. So I don't know. I would have expected maybe him to pop out a little bit and, at least watch camp or kind of watch Larry Johnson work the camp, but that didn't happen. So, again, I'm not intentionally throwing a wet blanket on this for everyone, but I don't see this really going anywhere. I just don't.
Well, we had a 5-star that looks like, maybe we'll see. A 5-star that looks like probably not. Now let's talk about a 5-star that Ohio State was feeling pretty good about. Sonny Styles. He was at camp on Tuesday watching his cousin. He'll be back today to work out. So that would certainly seem like good news for Ohio State. So just kind of put a pin in that one. We will have plenty of Sonny Styles talk probably at the lunchtime update today or on tomorrow's morning scoop. But they do have a couple of other big-time visitors today, offensive lineman Ernest Green and Chase Basantis. Which of those guys is most intriguing to you, Mark, either as a prospect or someone who's more likely to end up as a Buckeye?
I think just because we're further along with 22, I think it's probably Ernest Green. I think with Chase, it's more of a first impression type of thing and kind of see where things go. And Ohio State certainly can be a player there, but, and I'm intrigued to see him. But with Ernest Green, they're still looking for more linemen in this class. They've got some really good players that they've had on campus and that they will have on campus the next couple of weeks, and trying to sort through that. There's been a lot of positive stuff with Ernest Green over the past 12 to 18 months, but he's not been able to visit. And, you just a kid from California, you just don't know. I mean, so he's coming out here on his own dime. He's, probably going to do an official later for the Oregon game if nothing changes there. So I think this is a big moment. I think we find out a lot about, his status with Ohio State and vice versa. How do they feel about each other? And I think because he's going to do a workout. So, that's the intriguing one to me. They've obviously they've got some juice there at Bosco. Maybe possibly the best high school program in America. Certainly one of the top couple. They've got some juice there, and there's going to be some other Bosco kids as well there. So I'm kind of fascinated by that one and can kind of see where he could fit into this class right now. Can he play tackle? I mean, that's the question. That's the question we're having. We have this Tegris Chabola. Can he play tackle? Can Addison Nichols play tackle? I think we're having these questions right now. So there's a lot. There's a lot to learn, I think, on that one.
Well, today will be another camp day, and Rain and DeSantis and Sonny Styles and a whole bunch of other people are going to be there at the Woody Hayes. And so will pretty much all of our Buckeye Scoop team. Yet again, we had another really fun day on Tuesday. Had you guys heard the update show in your podcast feed, in your Morning Scoop podcast feed. We will probably do another bonus episode around lunchtime today. We'll drop that one in the Buckeye Weekly feed, just kind of spread the love a little bit. And if you want to hear that, you can just subscribe to Buckeye Weekly on your podcast platform of choice. Just search Buckeye Scoop. You can find all of our great shows and just subscribe to all of them. Then you never miss anything. There, solve that problem for you. I'll solve another problem for you. You can also watch all of our live stuff and all of our videos that we're posting on YouTube by going to youtube.com/Buckeye Scoop and hitting the subscribe button there. Then you'll get notified every time we post a new video, which will make sure you never miss a thing. And you get to watch all our stuff live when we do stuff live. Those camp days are a lot of fun. I have not covered a lot of those in the past, but those have been a lot of fun. There's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of big name people there. So those have been great. And man, do we have quite a big team there out there at. On Tuesday, we had Mick and Bill and Marc and I. We may have Kirk again today. So yeah, that'll be. I think we may have five strong there. We'll be interested to get Kirk's analysis on the offensive linemen who are working out there. That'll be something I'm interested in hearing about. And then later on this week, JT Tuimoloau, number 1 player in the class of 2021, visiting Ohio State. Got to tell you, this might be a good time to join Buckeye Scoop. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. It is going to be a fantastic, really interesting couple weeks as June ends and the Tuimoloau thing sorts itself out, the NIL stuff sorts itself out, and then we head into July, and then the start of the season. And if you remember this month, you can win Nevada's tickets to the Oregon game. You win 4 tickets to the Oregon game from Nevada. Nevada generally has pretty good seats. Going to say that might be worth your investment all by itself. You just have to sign up to become a member of Buckeye Scoop today. It is the price of a crappy chain store pizza. You get much more than what you get with a crappy chain store pizza. You get all the fun stuff about JT Tuimoloau, all the fun stuff with the camps, maybe Nevada's Oregon tickets. That seems like a pretty good deal. If I was you, I would sign up at buckeyescoop.com today. But I'm not you. That's your decision. Just saying, it's a lot of fun. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys for joining us. Have a great day. We will talk to you tomorrow.